You said yes. Oh, it's on the sticker.
It's a opossum.
Oh,
Are these ones?
I saw your debate with James on that.
Is the stickers possums or opossums?
In the card, I think she wrote possum.
Okay.
I didn't know. I thought when you guys said that it was just spelled opossum
With the
instead.
silent O.
Yeah, I've never seen anyone pronounce the O before.
Might as well get this out now. Thank you, Sarah and Kelly from Above Deck for sending us a goodie package.
Thank you for my Garfield stickers.
Cute.
We got Buckeyes,
Buckeyes chocolates.
which those are, I believe, the Ohio native candy.
Mm-hmm.
Like, it's yeah.
They are the Buckeyes that eat Buckeyes.
Yes.
They all
Yeah.
above.
And then we got ornaments at same minimum range. So thank you, Sarah and Kelly, for that. Let's get started. Welcome back to Minimum Rage, the podcast hosted by two 20-something-year-olds raging on about our past minimum wage jobs. Our guest today is the one and only Mia Schaeppi.
Hello.
Hi, Mia.
Mia, thank you for coming. I've been trying to get you on for a while, but
Yeah.
you are finally here.
Yes.
Let's start off with how we know each other.
Mm-hmm.
So we've been best friends since kindergarten.
Mm-hmm.
It's like, what, 20 years?
I know, we're very old now, so... Wow. Well, I'm old.
I mean, 20 years is just such an impressive friendship.
know.
That's crazy.
Yeah, that's really good.
Yeah, we've been through literally every chapter of school,
Wow.
including college, and suffered through soccer together.
Yeah.
Yeah?
Yeah, my dad always loves to tell this story where he's like, I knew Grace wasn't into it when, like, you'd be on different teams and she would just pass the ball to you.
That's so funny. We're gonna just like yell at my friends.
Just a good time,
Yeah.
just hanging out.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's funny. Her dad coached us at the Y, and so we got off very easy.
We
That's
did
good.
good too, though. Like, I remember when I finished soccer, we were winning, like, all of our games.
Wow.
We were killing it.
Yeah,
That's right.
I
That's a
dropped out.
lie.
Yeah, I dropped out early.
Yeah, you were
a few hanging
into it,
but,
yeah. It's okay. You did dance.
Yeah.
Oh, really? I've learned so much about you in
Yes.
5 seconds.
Yes.
Soccer,
Soccer
dance.
dance.
I know. I was very.
They used to
involved.
try to convince me, because I did dance, and I left dance, so they used to try to convince me to come back to dance, and I was like, no. No. No.
But actually, I think the funniest thing is that you're the victim of my Club Penguin antics.
I saw what you said, and she had never told me the truth about that, and so I found out the truth from
The podcast. Yes. Do you need a refresher?
Yeah, I do need a refresher.
Oh, okay.
A lot is
So,
coming to my mind right now.
When we were kids, I got her kicked off of Club Penguin.
Mm-hmm.
Is it coming
She-
back?
She told me, okay, so I went to the bathroom and I left her.
Oh my gosh, it is
with
coming
the-
back.
And she told me when I came back,
Oh
and
my
I said,
God.
you've been banned.
Oh my gosh.
She told me, I said, what did you do? And she said, I just said, can I sit next to you?
No.
And I said, what? I said, you got banned for that? She's like, yes, that's right. Like, she was vehement. I pressured her for years to say anything, and she stuck to that story. And then when I'm watching this podcast, and I'm like, what?
Wow.
Yeah. So
Oh my god.
if you want to know what I said, go back and listen to episode 1 with Erin,
Mm-hmm.
and you'll know.
Wow. That is coming. That's really funny.
24-hour ban. How dare you?
I'm a good actor. We just
Yeah, you pulled that
Yeah.
off.
I didn't say
Yes.
anything for like 20 years.
Like 20 years. You pulled that off,
I was
dude.
holding it off.
I was
for-
convinced. I was like, that person just must have been in a mood.
Yeah,
I don't
Yeah.
know.
Like, enough.
I
Yeah.
believed you. You convinced
Rightfully
me.
so.
Mhm.
I have to ask Grace, what was there just a lot of shame? Like, why didn't you just tell her?
Oh, probably yeah. And I also get in trouble.
You're probably so deep in the
Parents.
lie.
I
We
get
were literally
it.
at my parents'
I get
house,
it.
Yeah.
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 How
I
old
don't.
Into it. We were probably, I'd say 8. Maybe.
Yeah.
Like,
and like I don't know why that subject was on my mind as an 8-year-old.
So funny.
well, the penguins used to pretend like they were.
Yeah, they had code names. I don't know if you.
Yeah,
like,
yeah.
They have code words.
Mhm.
You'd go back. You'd say, "Want to go back to my Iggy?" I'm like,
God, that's crazy.
so it wasn't too far off topic. Other planets we're talking about.
yeah.
Right. I just was
Really
like
funny.
very out with it.
Mm-hmm.
Anyways.
Can I sit next to
Sunny.
you?
I believed her.
Banned.
I believed her.
So good.
Yeah.
So anyways, we usually start the show asking what your first jobs
Yes.
were. So what was your first job?
So my first job was at Crescent Ski Hill. I'm not sure if you're familiar with
I'm not, but
the ski hill.
congratulations.
It is, so there's no ski hills in Nebraska. The only ski hill is in Iowa, Crescent, Iowa, which is
Okay.
like, from Omaha, it's like a 45-minute drive.
Oh, not bad.
And I did that, I think I applied when I was like 15 or 16. I was a middle-aged teen, I guess. And I was so excited because my dad had worked there since the 80s as an instructor. And I was like, well, I considered all the jobs. I was like, do I want to be a boot person? Not really, because I don't want to deal with feet all day and like adjusting people's boots. And
That's the job. It's just
well, there was like, they have a few different jobs.
Okay.
Because my dad was like, I'll hook you up. Like, what do you want to do? Because
Yeah.
it's really not a big wig place. It's it's Iowa.
Yeah.
It's a small
they'll
ski
run
hill.
that town.
Yes. And then I could be like a front desk person. But as a 15-year-old, that was a little bit scary to
Yeah.
me. So the other one was like cleaner. And I was like, I don't mind being a cleaner. I like to clean things. And I can just like mind my own business, clean, and move on. But it turned terrible very quickly.
Why?
So at first I did it like 2 winters in a row. And it was already not great because my mom was always rapping on us because it's like a 45-minute drive and I really only worked during the winters, especially winter break. And you made like minimum wage.
Yeah.
And it was so little money. So she's like, you're spending gas money on the amount of money that you make out of there. And I was like, that's fair. But so the first winter I actually had a good time. I minded my business. It was okay. And then my second year, I was kind of bored. And my friend, I don't think he'd mind if I said his name, Daniel, he was like, I'm looking for a job. And I was like, come join me. That would be so fun. And we used to go skiing together. So they really didn't care if you skied, like as like a perk. So I was like, this will be great. So Crescent is very small. We have an upstairs and a downstairs. And you're supposed to, like if there were 2 cleaners, one would do upstairs, one would do downstairs. But you would run out of stuff to do. You get so bored. So we usually just would start on opposite ends of the room and work together. But then they got new owners. It was this like millionaire man and his wife. And they were like, let's buy a ski hill. So they took over it. And Daniel and I were always just friends. We never liked each other like that. But their daughter, who was like a little bit younger than us, hated me. I could tell she liked him. And she was like, that is my man. Like, stop interfering with my man. And I remember I could just tell didn't like me because of that. And then one day, it all came to a head where we literally done everything we could. Like, they used to tell you to clean the windows, which could never get clean when you ran out of stuff to do. So we're outside we had taken the garbage out, and there was garbage in front of the dumpster all over the place. And I said, let's just, like, pick up the trash. That way we were outside, we get a little bit of, like, fresh air. And their car, their fancy, like, Escalade or whatever it was, backs up and, like, goes by us. And I was like, oh, no, she's gonna, like, say we were fooling around or like, because that wasn't necessarily like a job description. It wasn't go pick the trash out. So I knew. So I get a text from not them, but like my direct boss, like a couple days later, and she was basically trying to fire me. Like, she's like, you're like not doing your job, blah, blah, blah. And at the time I was like, oh my God, I have given you so much. How dare you? I've gone on my hands and knees and cleaned these stinky toilets, and this is how you repay me? So I never came back.
Good.
And I remember she texted me the next year and was like, I'd been working at a new job. I was working at Family Fair, a real job. And she texted me and she's like, are you coming back this winter? After she tried to fire me, and I said, no, I got a real job. I said, no, ma'am, I'm not returning.
That is
So that ended quickly.
Wow.
2 winters.
I didn't know all of that.
Yeah, how rude, how disrespectful.
good on you, though.
Just
You
because, like, nepotism.
I
That
know.
was the daughter.
We weren't even dating. Like, she could have made a move on him if she wanted to.
But go for it.
She just hated me. The vibe was also just, like, off there. Like, I feel like we could have been a community. But one time I was upstairs wiping the very cheap picnic tables with, like, the cleaner. And this guy that is also a ski instructor who's sitting down for his lunch, like, sits down and he's like, "You're cleaning that wrong. You should not spray the table directly. You should spray the paper towel and then wipe the table. You're taking the varnish off." And I was like, dude, who cares?
What a horrible
At
vibe.
least it's getting clean.
Yes. I said, you go ahead and do it. Like, oh my god.
You said clock in.
No.
Wipe it over.
Yeah, and I hated, like, the men's bathroom because I had to wait for all of the men to leave the bathroom before I could go in there. And they would see me standing there, and they would just walk by me and, like, go in the bathroom. And then Daniel, it's kind of why I wanted him to get hired. He could clean the men's bathroom.
Yeah.
And he, one time that he worked a weekend, I didn't work, and he was like, "Mia, there was poop everywhere. Poop on the walls."
Oh,
I was like, what are people doing? Poop everywhere?
was there a bar in this place?
No, not at the time.
Wow.
I think the county bought it now, so they sold it. So apparently the owners are nicer now. Yeah, they have left, thank God. But
That's crazy.
poop everywhere. I was like,
Yeah.
I clean toilets for you people.
Wow.
I have to admire your self-respect to be
Yeah.
like, you know what, before you fire me, I'm gonna go.
Yeah,
I want better for myself.
I'm not coming back.
Yeah. Also, what was the age difference between that girl?
That girl, she was probably like 13 or 14,
And
we were like 16. You know,
Yikes.
so it's like a couple years.
Yikes.
Like, it wasn't anything crazy. It took me, because before that, my dad and I would go skiing every year.
Mhm.
It took me, I just went back like last year for the first time or the year before. I was like, I don't want to go back there. I don't want to see these people. Yeah. I was like, I don't want to be around you.
I feel like that's a pattern for a lot of jobs that people have. It's like once you leave, you're scarred.
I'm like, I'm going to see people I know, and like it brings up the memories. And
Yeah.
Old Navy, I will go back.
yeah.
That clearance rack will make me
Do
fight
you
my
see
fears.
people that you still know? I would assume they're on a rotation.
It is on a rotation, but it's like, I remember who first started when I started,
yes.
and so it's nice to see them climb the ranks throughout the years.
true. You're
So when I walk in, I'm like,
Yeah, management. Like, you're a manager.
yeah, you're a little baby.
Yeah.
Exactly. They're like, who are you?
Yeah, you're like,
I got fired.
Yeah, well, they're like, I used to work here 4 years ago. A long time ago. Why don't I just walk around Crescent doing that? I'm like, I used to work here. They'd be like, girl, we do not care. I cleaned the toilets.
Yes.
Yeah.
That's a credit.
Yeah.
That's a credit.
I think that's a great first job.
That is-
like,
It's humbling.
it's, clean those toilets. Clean your rooms.
Mm-hmm.
I remember, too, the second year, they had raised minimum wage, but there was some weird Iowa thing where, like, because it was, like, a privately owned company, they technically didn't have to raise minimum wage right away, so they were paying me $7.25, and I remember the minimum wage had gone up, and I was, like, still getting below minimum. I was like, girl, this is not worth it. Cleaning them toilets. I got a real job at Family Fair.
Hey, I like a
Speaking of
family fair.
Yeah, I would identify that as my worst job.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay.
I mean, I think just when you open yourself up to the public, you meet some real wackos. Like, at least when I was cleaning, I could mostly mind my business.
Mhm.
But, like, and not only the wackos that are the customers, but the wackos that Family Fair attracts as employees. Because that is some real like, I feel like every, like, supermarket is going to attract some weirdo employees, but especially, they say Family Fair, you're either 16 or you're 70. There's, like, no in between. There was this man, he already grossed me out, he had a ponytail, he kept talking about it, he was definitely at least 30, and I was, like, 16, 17 at the time, and he was always talking about how he majored in theater. I'm like, yeah, that's unfortunate.
So you're performing.
He's performing at fair. And he kept, I remember it was the summer, because I'd worked the most in the summer, and he's like, my apartment has a pool. I was like, okay. And he's like, do you want to come swim? I was like, no. No, I don't want to go swimming. And he's like, are you sure I can, like, give you my address?
Yikes.
I was like, no. I remember I told him, like, the excuse I had was, like, because he wanted to swim, like, that day. The excuse I told him was, like, the baseball all-stars thing was on, where they do, like, the home run derby. I don't even know what I'm talking about. I was like, I'm watching that with my parents tonight. I can't.
Literally, my parents,
Sweet
because I'm a
people.
child.
Yeah, I live without home.
Yeah, when my parents stopped asking me to come to your pool. And he literally, I went to the bathroom and I came back and he had left on a note his address.
Wow.
I made sure I waited until I didn't see him and I threw it in the trash can. I was like, I'm not.
Did you ever tell your manager about that?
No, I think he ended up quitting like a month later. I don't remember
To
why.
pursue.
They also rotate out of their... Yeah, they probably got a really big acting job. Yeah, I took him swimming. Well, one time too, this lady, who was definitely even older than him, asked me for a ride home. And I was like... I used a really good line. I was like, I can ask my mom if that's okay, you know, like... And she was like, it's really close. And I was like, I'll ask my mom. And then I came back when Fresh Time, you guys remember Fresh Time when Fresh Time was still here?
I know what fresh is.
It was like,
I'm not a local, I'm not local, sorry.
Fresh Time is now gone. What is it? Oh, I think it's in Aldi now.
Yeah.
But at the time I went to Fresh Time with my mom and she was there and she used to have bleach blonde, really short hair and like really black eyeliner. And she like dyed her hair jet black and she was really skinny now. And I was like, we went through her line, like, and she did not acknowledge me. I was like, I feel like you're in hiding and you're like trying to like, because she just hopped from one grocery store to another. The worst too was they would be so mean about the way that the way that you bag their items. Because like everybody wants it done differently, which I understand that, but like if you want it done a certain way, do it yourself.
Respectfully, yeah.
Like, I do it in the way where I put the meats together. I'm not going to put, like, air freshener with your meat or whatever you're scared about. But, like, I think I told you, I'm not going to do something crazy.
I'm horrified.
Okay. How dare people would lose their mind. They would lose their mind. This one guy, I remember it was getting dark and stormy outside. And this sweet lady that was in front of him was, like, trying to talk him up. It was him and his son. And she's like, oh, there's a big storm rolling in. Like, she just wanted to talk to him.
Yeah.
And he was like, I'm from Oklahoma. No storm here means anything to me. I was like, dude, just be nice to her. Be like,
Yes.
oh, big storm?
Yeah,
Like,
yeah,
that's what I would do. Yeah, I know. Like, that's all she wanted.
Exactly.
From
It
you.
was a quick,
She didn't care. You ruined it. She was like, oh, okay.
Everyone talks about storms with her all day.
Oh, a sweet old lady. I could tell right from that moment he was not going to be fun. And then he wanted me, he got like a can of soup and a frozen pizza, like a real awkward shape. And he's like, I want you to put that in paper. Nobody ever wants their really awkwardly large pizzas in paper. You put them in plastic. Like, that's just not what you do. And I said, like, I don't think it's gonna fit. And he said, oh, it'll fit. I was like, okay. So I'm like, usually what I should have. Usually you do it on like the empty one. There's always like an empty, you know how you spin the little plastic bags around? There's like an empty one and then so you put the plastic bags on. And it's hard to like, they're tall. It's hard to fit your arm in there. So I'm there, trying to shove his pizza in there. And I get it. I finally get the pizza in there. It doesn't look pretty, but it's in there. And everyone used to like to speed up the process, would put their credit card in the credit card machine just to like hurry it up. He looks at me and he sets his credit card next to the credit card reader. And he like adjusts it himself because he's like 6 feet. He's like way taller than me, and he adjusts it to like the bag look better. And he goes like, "It should look like a rectangle when you're done." I was like, "Who ruined your day?" And the last one was the other thing that people would get real mad about, which was alcohol, because you had to be at least 18 to check alcohol, and I was not 18. And they would purposefully steer away from me because I'd have to wait for a manager to come home and check alcohol. And this one time, it was like 10 in the morning. I was the only checker because it was 10 in the morning. No one was there. And this old lady comes through the line. And I always did the alcohol last, too. And, like, people get so mad about that. They'd be like, do it first. And I'd be like, I can't. I literally am not, like, if I check the alcohol, it's going to say you have to put in your ID and stuff, and I'm not supposed to do. I'll be happy to get a manager then. And then the manager's supposed to ring up the rest of your food. Like, is that what you want?
Yeah.
But not what you want. She started, like, screaming. She's so upset. So my manager comes over, and she, like, keeps looking at me and is like, what's going on? And I tell her, And then, I was trying to tell her, and then the lady kept screaming over her. So she like waited for her to finish screaming, and then looked at me and just told her, "Keep telling her I can't do the alcohol, and she won't listen to me. I don't know." So she literally just tells her, "We have to do the alcohol last, but I'll just bag the rest of the groceries for you." And I remember like the little spinny bag thing. I always would look to make sure that I had gotten everything, because sometimes it would leave, you know, an item in there, and I was like, I do not want this lady to have any items left here. So I was like doing it, and a lot of people girls would put their purses on there. So I'm doing that, and her purse, like, strap gets caught in the thing, and she grabs it, and she literally went, look at me. like she wanted to fight. I was like, this is too much for like 10 a.m. on a Thursday.
That's
I was like, are you gonna punch me? And she like eyeballed me as she walked out too. She was like, kept
Side eye.
yeah. I don't know what was up.
Oh my god.
That was like my last week
so
too. I started with like banger grandma, went out with a banger grandma.
Yeah.
Old angry grandmas.
I will say, when you're in high school and your friends have jobs, it's so fun to show up.
Yes. They should. Grace would show up.
Really?
Only, okay, there was like one time that I remember.
Yeah.
So, Kennedy and we came.
Yep.
And we were just like, let's just see she's here.
Yeah.
We like tried to sneak past the front because
Yeah.
we wanted to surprise
Yes.
her. So we're like, we need something to buy.
Yeah.
And so we picked out shark napkins from the party. We're like, this is good. Literally one item. We walk up there and we're waiting in line.
Yeah.
And you were like with the customer and you like do a double take and you did not look happy to see her.
Well, it feels like my mom would do that too. My parents would come through the line, and I'm like, oh my god.
Yeah.
It feels scary, you know?
Yeah.
Like, I'm like, oh, I have to like put
Yeah.
the big guns on. My
Yeah.
friends are
Yeah.
here. Like, I'm like, I got my little name tag. I'm like, hey guys. Like,
Yeah.
I'm scared.
It was really funny though. We were clubs.
What are you doing here? What are you doing here?
We just wanted to visit.
It's like when your mom shows up and she's like, oh, we just want to just like.
Oh my god, I had that happen to me. It was Old Navy.
Yeah.
She showed up, and
Yeah.
as she showed up, I was getting yelled at by my boss about, and I was like, see, that's why you gotta send a text.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I could be having a bad time.
Yeah.
You could have been getting yelled at by a grandma. And then
All the grandmas.
And then Grace is behind you, shark napkins.
Yes. And I'm like, Grace, not right now. Not right now. I think I was thinking about this the other day. I think part of it too was like, do you remember when you were young and like you would not let your parents drop you off like at like
Sure.
you were like
Yeah.
you had like I want to be farther away, or like I want, like I thought about that now and I was like, that is so strange that we're like, of course you're not old enough to drive. Yes, your parent is gonna drop you.
Yeah,
I
yeah.
feel like it felt like that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, my mom used to crank, she was an awful person, she used to crank the radio all the way up. It was like, I think Fancy by Iggy Azalea was popular at the time.
Yes.
And so she thought it would be funny to prank me, and all the way up, all the windows down. Get out of the car! And so in that, I was like,
mortified.
yeah, I was like, please 2 miles
Yep.
from the school
Yep.
walk.
Yeah. Well, you see people do that all the time on like TikTok now.
Yeah.
Like, I'm embarrassing my child. I'm like, I get it's funny when you're filming it, but like that poor child is.
Oh my gosh, they're going to therapy.
mortified. They're gonna be like, my dad played the radio really loud.
Yeah. And recording it.
Like my sister. Yeah. I don't know why that was like so mortifying at the time, but like, it was like same vibe. I was like, for the
Yeah,
grocery
you're
store.
like, you never know.
Yeah. Yeah, and then like I remember like my parents would come through my line and then like they would, you know, get alcohol or something, and then someone would have to come up and they'd be like, oh, who's this? And I'm like,
Oh, that's
really
really
mom. Like there was this old guy that worked there, big shocker. And he loved whenever I had alcohol and it was like a mom and a daughter, he loved going, now, are you two sisters? He loved that. And he used that on my mom. And she kept bringing it up. And I was like, he uses it on all of them. Like, mom. She loved it. I said, I feel like he did it a second time to her and she fell for it again. I was like, how many times are you going to fall for the same line being used on you? He does.
So funny.
He had the little old man moves. And he would say it all like, and then he kind of like laughed
Yeah.
afterwards too. He was goofy. The only thing he said to me that was off-putting one time was like, I remember I was holding on to like it was the cigarette counter, and when I was holding on to it, I had like short nails at the time, and he said like, "Why are your nails so short? Those are like man nails. I thought women were supposed to have long nails." And I was like, because I don't have long, voluptuous nails. Like you're gonna hate on my nails. Yeah,
That's
I'm a cashier. You can't judge my nails.
Like, this is at 50.
Yeah.
The second I bag these frozen pizzas, I can't.
We weren't talking about nails. I was like hanging on to something. I just looked at them. I know. Well, don't look at them right now.
I know.
Don't look right now.
It's giving unfituate
I
on them.
know. Well, I was like, what women do he know that like all have long, voluptuous nails?
Goes out.
I guess. He likes his women with long nails. I don't know. I don't know that many women that always have long nails, and if they do, they're fake. So
Yeah, exactly. I like an acrylic.
I use the little glue sticker. Grace gives the ones to me that are too big for her because she's got
Yeah,
small
those
fingers.
impressed. And she gives me this whole.
Yep.
That's
So-
a really
Little
sweet.
trade-off.
Yeah.
Wow.
I love those. Those are like my favorites.
Yeah.
I've been trying to take a break so I can like get my normal nails grown back
be
out,
healthy.
but yeah, because it's been a while. I was like on a rotation of them. I
Yeah.
was addicted.
And it like thins them out.
Yes, the glue.
Oh my god, this one time we went to Boston together, and so like I get anxious about putting my luggage up because I'm like weak and short.
It's
And also
tall.
one time I had just put on fake nails. It was like I don't want to.
Your nails are going pop off.
Yeah. So I had her
Yep.
grab it for me,
Yep.
and her nail.
I was like, I'm not afraid. Can you imagine? It's just like the person you see it below you and your nail just pops off into their lap. I'm like, sorry, I'll take that. It's like, that's my bad. I'll take that nail.
So funny.
Those. That was a great trip.
That was funny.
That was a good trip.
So we've done a few jobs together.
Okay. Oh, I didn't know this.
Um,
We did.
One of them being a daycare,
Yep.
which we won't say the name, but it was like at a church.
Yep.
And I
Classic.
got her that job.
Yep.
Because
I was looking for a job,
Yeah.
and I was like, "Shoot, I have nothing lined up." My mom was one of those like people who like in the summer, especially in college, if I did not have a job lined up, she's like, "You have to do something. Like you can't not have a job." So
Yeah.
I was like, "I need your
Yeah,
help."
I was like, come on, and like literally easiest job.
It was fun.
Yeah.
Had a good
Daycare.
time. The management was interesting, though.
Okay.
But like the children themselves.
Nepotism.
Oh,
Yeah.
man, this is like a common thing
Yeah.
that you've been running into.
Yeah.
This is great. It's also Nebraska. I feel like there's a lot of that.
Yeah.
Whenever you're like
No
in a
one
small
wants to
town, big
leave.
city. Yeah.
Yes. I liked the kids though. The kids were fun.
It was so fun. It was like house.
It was
so fun.
Everyone would fight for like certain ages. Like
Yeah.
what was it, the
Oh my
2
God.
3-year-old?
It was like
Tots?
toddler, preschool. No one went preschool. because
No.
they suck.
Did you? Who was more of a disciplinarian? You?
Definitely.
Probably me.
Really?
I don't.
Yeah.
Really?
Just because like I think I'd been there longer.
Yeah.
Okay.
Because Grace originally wanted to go into childcare.
Okay.
Yeah. That was gonna be my thing. Yeah. But yeah.
You knew you'd have to do it. I think if you weren't planning on going into it, you
Well,
probably.
and also like when you're new, you just want to be their friend.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And you're like, and
Yeah.
then like,
Once you're their teacher and you
there.
see them
yeah,
constantly, you
Yeah.
probably know. I don't have a good mean voice. I remember practicing and I was like, stop! Like, I don't know how to like do like, because you have to like change your tone. And I kept practicing. I'm like, stop it, kids! Like,
you're that. You're nice.
Yeah.
and then put on a tone with them.
Yeah,
It's
you gotta
funny.
talk through your teeth.
Travel through your tubes.
Guys,
Yeah.
stop it. I look back and like it sounds bad, but like at the time it really wasn't bad. I will say it probably wasn't fun with like everybody wanted the babies. We never got the babies. That was like
Yeah.
the most competitive.
So
the little babies.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Everybody wanted them, but I always hear babies have the worst poops. So maybe
Yeah, the blow-ups.
maybe
Yeah.
that's what I heard. Because the toddlers really weren't terrible.
Well, the toddlers are hard because you have to potty train them.
That's true. Yeah, they're in.
That's
Oh yeah, you had to keep
worse.
track of like
Yeah.
you would write down when they pooped and if they pooped.
So
and-
much.
Yeah. I remember Grace telling me,
Yeah.
like, write down the poop, like,
yeah.
bowel movement.
Yeah.
Yep, no bowel movement. And you would tell the parents, you'd be like, no bowel
And
movement.
it's like guaranteed the parents did not care about that sheet.
Yes, you know the other thing that I literally just told someone the other day? When it was nap time, you were supposed to hit their backs to like
Yeah.
make them fall asleep. Because you'd be like, good night. I'd be like, no, you gotta like slap them. Yeah.
Yeah. Oh my god, the amount of times I actually fell asleep during nap time.
Wow.
Lights it off.
Yeah.
So bad.
Yeah.
And you
Yeah.
put on like relaxing.
Yeah.
You like, there was always a spare blanket.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. Yes. That was the best. That is such a good like in between little college job.
Yeah. Yeah, thinking about it, that was bad. If something would have happened,
Yeah.
I would have been fucking out.
I think I usually stayed awake. I was just usually on my phone.
Yeah, good for you.
Yeah.
So you guys would be 2 to a 1 room together?
Most. Yeah.
Yeah, mostly. Sometimes there would be
nice.
another girl.
Yeah.
You know, just for ratio.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
But it was like, as long as you all got along,
Yeah.
it was like so easy.
Yeah.
I would do that. The one place that I worked for one day. But they were.
childcare?
It was childcare.
Okay.
It was, I can't remember what it's called, but it was preschool in Lincoln. One day, but it was they were training me to have the 2 to 3 year olds. I would have them all. I'd be by myself in that room, and that's honestly what turned me away from it. So I was like, I could not.
If I had to be alone, I don't
Yeah.
think I.
Because that's insane. I can't control that. But when there's a second person,
Yeah, well, at least you can consult each other or be like,
Yeah.
I'm gonna stay in the room, you
Yep.
go get help or
Yep.
something.
Yeah.
But like if you were alone.
Well,
Oh.
in Nebraska, the ratio is 1 to 6.
Yeah.
So you shouldn't have had more than 6 kids.
They're breaking the rule.
they were breaking the rule. I believe that there were more, but I honestly can't remember because they were just like small.
They were just like
yeah.
gathering at my feet. Yeah.
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 Sometimes the preschool kids were kind of fun though, because like I remember one time, I think you were there. I hope you were there. I think I'd at least told you the story if you weren't there. But sometimes the teachers would be there too, and I remember the teacher was trying to do like reading time. She was so nice though, such a
Yeah.
sweet lady. But sometimes, because they actually had teachers, and
Yeah.
you would like interact with them, and she was trying to do reading time. She was trying to get their attention. And they would not stop singing Imagine Dragons.
That's really
They kept starting thunder. They would thunder. Like, so they had their fun and they kept doing that. And then she's like, okay, guys, we have to stop.
Yeah.
It's reading time.
Yeah.
And then, like, there was one boy who, like, she would be a few pages into it. We go, thunder. And, like, everybody would, like, die laughing. Like, they loved it. And they would do, like, a little, like, hand out. Like, they would rock out to that song. I was like, I don't want to laugh, but, like, you're so funny. You're so funny.
I think that's what would break me working with kids. Is like
I know.
if they're being, I would encourage the bad behaviors. That
Yeah.
kids
It's
like,
like, you're hilarious.
yes, like keep it up, kid. You're gonna
No, he was goofy.
Future comedian, maybe.
I know.
Future
He did. He just Imagine Dragons.
That is funny.
It was that song was everywhere for a while. That's the main.
That's probably one of the reasons that turned me away from childcare, elementary, whatever,
Yeah.
teaching was because the behavior.
Mm,
yeah.
I'm just crazy.
Yeah.
And then simultaneously, while we were doing that daycare job, we also did a classroom setup job. Do you remember?
Yes.
It was like the weirdest thing.
Yes. Well, so my neighbor at the time, he's moved since, worked for Lakeshore, which is like the classroom. Like a bunch of teachers will buy their classroom supplies
Yeah.
there. And he had put something on Facebook where he was like, hey, like, if we're gonna have people moving classrooms, like we always do the classroom full moves during the summer when the kids aren't there, and we need people to like manage them. I was like, I can do that. Like, I can tell someone to put that there. I can totally do that.
Yeah.
So we signed up for it, and he had said, I remember I was still taking finals. It was like my first year of college. I was still taking finals, and he was texting me, and he's like, I need you this week. Like, I'm like, no.
Yeah.
I can't do it this week. I'm still in school. You have to wait until I'm out of school, and then I will help you. And we did like 2 jobs, maybe.
Yeah, I did one.
Yeah, I think I
was
did
hanging
2.
from one of them.
Yeah.
Because I had to go to the daycare.
Oh yeah,
And-
you're right.
But that was like a very interesting job.
Yeah.
It was
Kinda
like, we had
fun.
like haul stuff, like
Yeah.
boxed
Yep.
furniture or books.
There were not often movers. Most of the time it was you.
It was just like us
You
and like
doing it
a,
yourself.
like a flatbed.
Yep.
But it was like an interesting.
They left you completely unsupervised.
Yeah,
Yeah.
like
Did
just
your
open,
own- yeah.
open stuff and like put it in.
We
these
would just be
different
blasting
areas.
music like
Yeah.
It was a really fun job.
It
Yeah,
was.
But
That was
like
fun.
absolutely no.
And you made really good money.
Yeah.
Like, for some reason they pay you really well to do that.
Yeah.
Like,
Probably because it's like a short-term job.
Yeah.
Yeah. He just said, he was like, we're gonna have so many jobs, and I had 2.
Yeah.
Like, I was like, What?
There's this one time I remember I was using a box cutter to open something, and I totally cut into the thing. It was like a foam like cushion maybe.
Yeah.
But like fully like sliced it open, like stuffing was showing.
Uh-oh. You're like, let's turn that on the
I turned
bottom.
it over.
Let's put that on the bottom.
You didn't tell
I
me.
had the
I
same
was like,
thought. Same
That's
thought.
really funny.
And you know what? They open it, and then the kid does it, and they're like, "Oh, you did
Yeah,
that?
yeah.
You did
Well,
that?
no,
How dare you? Damaged product."
I was like, and then from then out, I was very careful with my box cutter.
Yeah. I thought you were gonna say like that. Also, was the summer of my favorite job. That was like the COVID summer. That was my favorite job.
The classic?
No, the dog walking.
Oh yeah,
You were a dog walker?
I did.
That's
I
fun.
love dogs.
Yeah.
That was my favorite. That was the number one.
Okay.
It also had its downsides, but it had more good than it had.
Yeah.
More creepy.
Yeah. Well, okay. I think he meant it well, but okay. So I remember it was the COVID summer, and I thought maybe my mom would not make me work that summer because it was COVID, and she's like, "No, you have to get a job." And I was like, "Dang it!" And she literally had told me I was gonna have to like work at Jimmy John's. I was like, "Oh, I don't want to work at Jimmy. I didn't want to work at Jimmy John's." And at first, I thought maybe I could be a driver, but I think you have to be like 21, which is odd because I was 16. There was like an age limit that you had to be. Maybe it could have been. No, I think I was over 18. Yeah, it was because it was 2020.
I think you're right.
So I think it's 21.
Yeah.
At least to be like a delivery driver or something like that. So I was not old enough to be a delivery. I was like, if I could be a delivery driver and just avoid people, I could do that. But I do not want to be making those subs. Like, no, I don't want to do that. So I was trying to get like a babysitting job.
Yeah.
So I was on care.com, and I didn't realize that care.com also does like pets and like house
That's nice.
sitting.
Yeah.
And, like, so I was applying for all of those too, and he's the one person who responded to me. The one person. And he lived out in Elkhorn, which wasn't a terrible drive, but he wanted me. So he's from California, and he had no family in the area, and he had 2 dogs who needed walked, and he lived in an apartment. He did not have like an outside area. So he said, "You're gonna have to come 3 times a day. You're gonna have to come in the morning, in the afternoon, after they eat, and like at night to let them out before night," because he had broken his like leg walking the dogs.
Whoa.
And he had no family to help him.
Whoa.
So it was like, I remember meeting with him and had our interview. It was just me and him sitting in his apartment.
Yeah.
Like basically lay in the ground. And he was like, "I could pay you $10 a day." I was like, "You're paying me $10 a walk."
Yeah.
$10 a walk,
Yeah.
bro. That's me being nice to you.
Yes.
$10 a day? I was like,
A
that
day?
barely covers my gas out here. 3 times a day, to and fro.
Oh my
No,
gosh.
too much. That was too much. But it ended up, he agreed to, I think he was just trying to see what he could like, how low he could get me to go. Because as soon as I said 30, he was like, "Okay." Like, he kind of acted like he was hesitant, but he did it. He did it. He had the money. And so, I mean, I just spent the whole summer walking those dogs.
Wow.
And
every day.
yes, 3 times a day.
Wow.
It was great because I got great exercise and we were outside. You joined me, didn't you?
I went on one of the times.
Yes.
Yeah.
I would tell my friends, I'd be like, "Come walk.
Come on.
with
Yeah.
me." You know, like, because the apartment, it was like a bunch of apartments and they had a pond in the middle. It was a good sized pond though. And I would usually just do some laps around.
That's
the
amazing.
pond.
That sounds like a great
It
job.
was a blast. The only thing was, those dogs were a little bit kooky. One of them was a Vizsla, which I don't know if you know what that is. It's a hunting dog, and it's very large and it's very strong. They're very strong dogs. And he
The
was
broken leg.
yes, he's definitely the one that broke his leg. Because,
Oh my god.
so I thought it was hilarious because he would act like he would tell me these stories about how he sent him on like a month-long hunting thing away and they trained him really well. That dog was the worst behaved dog. Like,
Yeah.
I was like, "What are you talking
What
about?
training?
I don't know what you're talking about." And he was so sweet. He called him Ty. And I was like, "Oh, Ty." And he's like, "Yes, full name's Tiberius." And I was like, "Wow, that's something, dude." Yeah.
This is the one that broke his.
And then the smaller dog was an old beagle that he had. She was adorable. She was the cutest little thing. And her name was Art. And he was like, "Yeah, her full name is Artemis." I was like, What is up? What are you doing? Why
I
are you...
remember you're like, "I'm not calling him that."
I was like, I called her Art the Fart. Like, I'm not from him, but I still called her that. It's like, I'm not calling her Artemis. I'm like,
in Tiberius.
Too much. Artemis and Tiberius. And I remember I had to, like, tie the leash in a certain way, like, around him so that it would act like a harness, basically, because my right arm got so strong from restraining him that summer because he was insane. I was like, what training?
Yeah.
But, like, when we would walk around that pond, if there was something on the ground, he ate it. Like, one time I got scared because he found, like, someone had fried chicken, and the chicken bone was there, and he just immediately, I was like, what are you eating? Because he was just eating it.
Yeah.
And I, like, see it, I'm, like, trying to take it out of his mouth, but it's a big dog. And I was like, well, I'm not getting that out of his mouth. And I just Googled, like, are chicken bones okay for dogs? No, they're not okay.
You should give him the idea.
So I had to go back and tell him, I'm like, he ate a chicken bone, so if something happens, I don't know what to tell you. Like, I can't stop. He would eat grass all the time.
Wow.
And then he would throw the grass up. Like, he was a nutty dog. And, like, I had to walk him on, like, the 4th of July, too. That was I was like, why do I have to?
I need a holiday. Yeah.
No.
He'll be fine with one day.
Yes, they were a blast. And, like, I had such a good routine. I would go alone in the morning. My mom would come with me at lunch, and then my dad would go with me at night. So I had someone with me at night to protect me. I will say, those dogs were ginormous. So
yeah.
I got really good at holding 2 dogs and picking up poop and like being on the lookout for other dogs because they would go crazy when they saw another dog, and like someone would come out of their apartment and I'd be bending down picking up poop. I'd be like, oh crap! Like I'd have to, like, like I'd have to like prepare. But that was so fun. And then eventually he started, Grace remembers this, expecting me to be like his little like apprentice, like his little chauffeur, because he had no family. So he'd be like, can you take me to my doctor's appointments? And like, you're gonna need to drag me because my leg is broken. And I'm like, I did not sign up to be your chauffeur. And he's like, well, I guess I could get the VA to like come pick me up. And I'm like, yeah. And he got me multiple times to take him. It would have been one thing if it was once in a while, but he started like expecting it. He started being like, can we go to the store? And then his car stopped working. So then because he'd go and he expected me to like start his car occasionally so it would still work. And then he's like, my car is not working. Can we take it to the shop? Like, oh my god, it was so many kids.
One time,
he had me take him to the grocery store. And I remember it was raining really hard, and I did not really know how to work that car very well because it was like fogging up, and I didn't know how to get it to unfog. And he's like, do you know how to like defog the car? I was like, no. So he like helped me.
Car?
No, it's my car. I just didn't know how to like defog when it was getting foggy. Like I didn't know the right knobs to twist. And then we get all the way to the store in the pouring rain. It was raining hard. And he gets out and he comes back and he goes, I need a mask and I don't have a mask. And like I didn't have any masks in the car. It was like early COVID.
Yeah.
And I had to drive him home and take him to the store the next day. I was like, really? And I felt bad because he had no family. And he would be telling me army stories and how he lived in Alaska. And like, I was like, I feel bad for you, but you're also so hardcore taking advantage of me.
Yeah.
And like one time I come in and he's like, his nails are too long. He tore up my bed sheets. Can you take him to get his nails trimmed? I'm like, I have to get your giant dog in my car and like take him. And he's like, you're gonna take him to this pink poodle place. They know him. That's where I get everything done there. And they'll trim his nails. So I take him there, and he showed me the bed sheets, and that dog clawed up those bed sheets. I was like, why is that giant dog in your bed? Why are you allowing him in your bed? And we get there.
The dog is abusing him.
Yes.
Sorry.
Oh my god.
Wow.
What the heck? He's he's tearing up his bed sheets.
Broken leg.
Dude, this is, yes. But we get to the pink pool, whatever it was called. I don't know if it was called that, but we're in there and they're like, have you been here before? And he's like, he said like, you know, they've been here before, and she's looking up She's looking up Tiberius, and she can't find anything. So I give them his phone number. I'm like, this is his phone number. And so she looks at the phone number, and she's like, oh, his name is Rufus Charles Tiberius. The guy's name was Charles. So apparently there's a thing where, like, in, like, Prestige Dog, you like name the dog like a bunch of fancy names. So he threw his name in
That's
there.
crazy.
And Rufus. I would not think of that as prestige. I think of freaking Kim Possible, the naked mole rat, Rufus. That's what I think of. But he named that dog Rufus.
That's really
Charles Tiberius. Dude, Tiberius is his third name. It's not his first name. I was like,
That's
what
so
are you
good.
doing? Who names their dog not only after them, but 3 names? He's terribly mannered. I tell you what, he was terribly mannered.
We are coming up to the end.
No.
Do you have anything to plug?
No.
I didn't.
No.
I'll just say.
Yeah.
You
got
plug,
it.
you
got it.
plug that guy. He's still looking for a dog walker.
Please help Charles.
Please help Rufus,
Rufus
Charles Tiberius.
the third. It's somehow. I could not.
That's so good.
I could not believe. I don't even remember if the beagle had a name, like multiple names. Artemis is enough.
Yeah.
Artemis is enough.
Amazing.
Thank you for coming.
You're
Congrats
welcome.
on your promotion for your
I
career job.
do, yeah.
Because now you actually have time to like.
I do,
That's
yeah.
awesome. Congrats.
It's less stress and I make more money, so.